Testing, testing. Good morning, all. It's Ned over My Philippine Dreams, N to the E to the D over at MPD, coming at you from glorious, beautiful Dumaguete City, which is now socked in with rain. I don't know how my internet's going to work out. Hopefully it'll stay up. If it goes down, don't blame me. It's just part of living in the Philippines. All right, today is August 16th, 2017. The first day of the rest of our lives. Yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, and today is a gift. That's why they call it the present. So make the most of it. Brought to you this week, our corporate sponsor, of course, by cheap brand name knockoff sunglasses that you can buy off nearly any street vendor in the Philippines for $1. Yes, for only 50 pesos lang, you too can style and profile in the latest designs by renowned Chinese designers Gucci, Provda, Dolce & Gabbana, Say-Ban, and of course, my personal favorite, Hoakley. At only $1 a pop, be sure to stock up, especially considering the need for cutting-edge Chinese ultraviolet protection during the upcoming total solar eclipse on August 21st. Does anybody know if that's actually going to affect us at all? I know it's going right across the United States. I don't know if it's going to affect us or not. Let me see if this thing's working. It does seem to be working. All right, try to keep it civil in the comment section. If you're trolling, I'm just basically going to block you. That's how it is. Weather, like I said, it's raining here in Dumaguete. It is rainy season and the moisture is playing havoc with my PLDT DSL line. For some reason, it doesn't seem to affect cable internet as much as DSL when it rains, and I think it has something to do with the moisture and the telephone lines being affected. So like I said, hopefully this thing will stay up. And despite it being rainy season, most days have been clear and sunny, with temperatures around 86 degrees Fahrenheit. Yes, I'm American. I don't understand that Celsius thing, so apologies to everybody not in the United States. Trivia question. Of course, we like to give out free stuff here at My Philippine Dreams. Last week's trivia question, continuing on the previous week's topic of science fiction and fantasy. This British author is known for his grimdark take on conventional fantasy. He too is one of my favorite authors of all time, and his series featured a yellow-eyed half-demon, a self-loathing torturer, and a rather likable nine-fingered berserker who also unfortunately happened to be an unwitting child killer. The correct answer, of course, was Joe Abercrombie, and if you like fantasy, I highly recommend his first Law trilogy, and there's like 3 books after that. I've read the series about 4 or 5 times. It's that damn good. So Peter D. and Josie G. were all sent a free copy of my ebook, Chasing Your Philippine Dream, an Expat's Guide to the Philippines. Congratulations, and there's your shout out, and I just sent your book off. It takes me a little while to send the book off because I'm slow. This week's trivia question, and it's a pretty simple one, it's a pretty basic one, and it's one that was right in front of me for the longest time, and I never thought to ask it. You can see examples of this skin discoloration. You can see examples of this skin discoloration on the leg of nearly every Philippine citizen. After a foreigner has been here for a while, they also tend to suffer from the same malady. First 2 correct answers email to myphilippinedreams@gmail.com. Gets you a free copy of our ebook. We had a little hangout yesterday. I called it Tuesday morning Q&A, or I might call it Tuesday morning fact and fiction, where people ask factual questions and I just make up the answers. Special thanks to Rory, Chris, Jesus, Tim, and Kent for joining in on the Google Hangout. Once my self-induced technical difficulties were sorted out, I couldn't figure out how to turn on my microphone. We had an open discussion on various topics, including renting versus owning, the ongoing fighting in Mindanao, getting medications from the VA, and why Ned couldn't figure out how to turn on his mic. Unlike my announcement last week, you don't have to be a supporter in order to access the Hangout. I'll be doing this like every 2 weeks, and again, it's just an opportunity for people to come in and ask questions and interact. It will simply be open and any to all who want to join and constructively add to the ongoing discussion of living, working, studying, retiring, or simply playing foosball in the Philippines. And speaking of supporters, don't forget that I do have a Patreon site. The link, as always, is in the video description box. Thanks again to everybody who has supported this site. both financially and with continued positive or constructive negative feedback. I sincerely appreciate it. Back to the subject of free stuff, because we all like free stuff, and this one's a great opportunity. Some people might have heard of this. Galaxy Science Fiction magazine ran for decades. I think it started in the 1950s. And they recently made most of its extensive collection available for free. If you are a sci-fi fan, you can find 355 complete issues running from 1950 to 1976 at the archive.org site. Available formats are PDF, EPUB, Mobi, and many, many others. The link, again, is available in the video description box. And these are really cool because this is like Fahrenheit 451, Theodore Sturgeon, early Isaac Asimov. This was back in the day when people were still writing with fountain pens and only like the rich people had typewriters. And like word processors and the stuff we have nowadays was only, I don't know, science fiction to them. So this is a great opportunity, and I've actually downloaded the first 5 issues, and I'm checking it out. And when I was a kid, I was subscribed to Isaac Asimov Science Fiction magazine, and it was like it was the follow-up to Galaxy. Let's check the comment section real quick, then we'll get to the articles. We're going to be discussing a stunning find in a ceiling in Cebu City, and President Duterte's comments on the drug war. Expat in Training says, Ned, are you reading off a teleprompter because I'm using big words? Yeah, I basically got it written down on a Microsoft Word document, and I pasted it up the next day on our site. Dun, dun, dun. Where is Angel? Angel is outside. Rick S. asks, where is Angel? She's outside. She's naked right now. She does not have her collar on because I am charging it up. I actually got a bark collar for her, which sends out a tone and vibrates. It doesn't shock her. But when she's barking at night and I'm trying to sleep, I just grab the remote and give her a little buzz, and she usually shuts up. All right, going back. Actually, I tried to respond to a couple questions during the live cast as well, to the best of my ability. And the first subscriber question comes once again from our longest subscribed viewer. I think he's been with us for like 3 or 4 years. And a true friend of the channel, the one, the only, Aaron Wilson. Aaron asks, Ned, thanks for answering my question last week. He had asked about the water or something. That said, I would now like your most valuable insight on my present situation. I am a gay man who is presently taking an extended vacation in Thailand. I met a wonderful ladyboy at a party hosted by Kev in Thailand, a local vlogger here, and I am now considering marrying her. Would it be best to get married first and bring her to the United States on a spousal visa, or would I be better off bringing her into California on a K-1 fiancé visa? That's a good question. Thanks once again for it, Sir Aaron, and congratulations on finding that special someone. Both of your options are doable presently under United States law. Living in California, which does allow for same-sex marriage, you could bring her in under a K-1 fiancé visa and marry within the stipulated 90-day period. The only issue facing the spousal visa for you and your lovely lady, where you'd have to be married before you actually go to the United States. You have to apply after you're married. And as you know, I'm sure as you well know now, same-sex marriage is not allowed in Thailand. It's actually not allowed anywhere in Asia at this point. I think the first country that's going to actually allow for it is Taiwan, which just recently the Supreme Court said it was okay, but it hasn't gone into law yet. So the closest option for you to do that, to get married, would probably be New Zealand. It's only a hop, skip, and jump across the ocean, and they do allow same-sex marriage. You could conceivably apply for a tourist visa there, go there, get married, and then apply for a United States spousal visa. I hope that answered your question, Aaron, and congratulations again on your upcoming nuptials. Expat in Training says, don't come to North Carolina. I love North Carolina. I have only good memories from North Carolina. Fort Bragg. All right. We got 157 people watching right now, so let's get into this because I don't want to drag these out because sometimes live streams get a little too long. So I'm going to try to stick and move, get to the points, and try to carry on as fast as I can. First article up, and this is straight out of the news. We got two news articles this week. President Duterte admits challenges to controlling the drug problem. The Philippines' firebrand of a president, Rodrigo Duterte, recently admitted that his harsh campaign against his drug-dependent constituents is more of a challenge than he originally thought. Speaking before a group of medical clinicians in Davao City, which he used to be mayor of, the president noted that the nation has thousands of miles of coastline and insufficient resources in which to monitor them. He said, "We don't have the equipment, it's not enough." He also brought up the United States once again and noted that our country's inability to deal with its own drug problem. He's talking about the United States. Others can't do it. He's, again, the United States. How can we? These drugs, we can't control it. When elected, the populist president promised to end the Philippines' drug problem within 6 months. If he couldn't, he would resign. He later changed that pledge after realizing just how severe a problem long-term methamphetamine dependency is. On a related note, the president seems to have pivoted towards eradicating corruption in government, which he likened to, quote, a cancer on society. He also pledged that if corruption charges linked to his son were proven true, he would resign from his presidency. Yeah, so, I mean, you see this in world leaders all across the planet. They think they have a solution to something, they think they can do something, and then they actually get there, and they realize it's a bit more difficult than they actually thought. And this recently happened in the United States with President Trump. He thought he had an excellent health care plan so they could, eradicate Obamacare and put this new plan in, but it didn't prove out, and he actually admitted that health care is a lot more complex and complicated than he originally thought. President. Who would want to be president? You see what happens to a president in 4 years? They go in all youthful and exuberant and full of energy, and they come out wrinkled, bent over, with a cane. Scott Bowles asks, "Hey Ned, I don't know where you are in the Philippines, but do they have girly bars where you are, mate?" I am in Dumaguete City, the sleepy little seaside town here on Negros Oriental. There's a few girly bars, but they're kind of like ones you probably don't want to go to. It's not like Angeles City or Cebu, places like that where they got nice clubs, KTV bars and all that. The ones here are a little run down. And of course I don't have any first-hand knowledge on that. That's all coming from some sources of mine who will remain anonymous. And actually I don't think girly bars are legal in Dumaguete City limits. Something about a place can have dancing GROs, I guess, guest relations officers, but they can't have a pole. They're not allowed to have a dancing pole. Hey, Sean MC, he says he's referring to Aaron Wilson, who is, oh yeah, good one, Ned. That's him? Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Wow, I learn something new every day. He pulled the wool over my eyes. Davao Yoda says, have you noticed all these raids are at night where there is no witness and all killings have the same amount of guns associated with the dead? I haven't seen that, but you saw what happened in Ozamis recently, down in Misamis, where they did a nighttime raid on, I believe it was a governor or mayor's house, and there was like 12 or 14 people killed in that one. That's rough. Scott Balls, thanks for all your advice. Cheers. All good, mate. Yeah, I don't know much about that type of scene. Maybe I'll learn at some point. All right. And again, and I just found out who Aaron Wilson is. He sent me another question, and we'll try to answer that real quickly. He asks, Ned, thanks for addressing the issue of contaminated water in last week's live cast. I appreciate the answer, but I am actually more concerned about parasitical infestation from the uncooked vegetables that you consume. I actually had to move from the Philippines to Thailand because of my fear of being infected with roundworm, whipworm, or the like. All right. So basically, and this is a continuation from last week on the contaminated water, the dirty water here, he's talking about soil-transmitted helminths. And basically those are roundworms, whipworms, all of those little parasites. They're actually nematodes. And I think it's the biggest parasitical problem in the world. They're basically transmitted either through direct contact with poop-contaminated soil, like you step on it, touch it, whatever, or ingesting food that is grown and or exposed to poop-contaminated soil. These these parasites are usually transmitted through feces. It could be carabao, it could be dog feces, human feces, whatever. It is a huge problem throughout all the developing world and is the most common parasitic disease. About 2 billion people are infected and another 4 billion people are at risk. Okay, so this thing's pretty widespread. And it's not just the developing world. A lot of first world nations also are starting to have to deal with this. Many nations, including the Philippines and Thailand, have yearly deworming clinics conducted through the school systems. That's a big thing here. They'll basically have deworming day where all the kids will go and they'll be given a single pill. And I think they do it like every 6 months to deal with this issue. It's either because the World Health Organization realized that instead of testing people individually for it and treating them afterwards, it's actually cheaper and more efficient to just treat everybody because the pills don't have serious side effects, especially with children. Because with children, what these parasites do is they're basically sucking up the nutrients. So it hurts their development, it hurts their physical growth and all that stuff. So Aaron, you really didn't have to move to Thailand. It is also a hot zone for STHs. For those who do eat uncooked vegetables and fruits like myself, you can simply have your doctor write you a prescription for a single anti-helminthic pill that you can take once or twice a year to deworm yourself. I do it once a year. It costs about $2. You can get them at the pharmacies here. And so far it hasn't, other than baldness, it doesn't seem to have any side effects. I mean, basically deworming. It's more fun in the Philippines. And again, this is a problem all throughout the world that affects billions of people. But luckily, they have these medications. And I forgot the one I take. I take the same one every time. And it's just a single pill. It's like 400, 500 milligrams. And you deworm yourself. It's more fun in the Philippines. Raymond says, I need a tapeworm to lose weight. Yep, those are very efficient. Absolutely. Dan G says, you can use TRICARE in the Philippines. Yes, you can use TRICARE in the Philippines as long as it's a TRICARE approved doctor. They actually have some in Cebu. There's a bunch in Manila. Also, there's a change coming to the VA outpatient clinic up in Manila. They used to pay for your transportation and accommodation to go up to the clinic. As of October 1st, I believe they're no longer doing that, probably to save money. Ben Fern, what's up, Ned? Good to see you again. It's the Florida guy, Ben. Last time I saw you was at Moon's Cafe. CF said, I love Dumaguete. It's not the place for girls. If that is what you want, I substituted girls for something else. Yeah, it's really not. It's basically... It's a lot of students. You have a lot of students here, foreign students from the United States, Canada, UK, everywhere. You got a lot of Korean students, a lot of students from Asia. That's actually, I think, it's the #1 population here in Dumaguete. And then you got family guys, basically. It's a quiet town, and it's not for everybody. I've seen a lot of guys come through, and they're like, oh, this is just too dull. Everything closes at basically, 10 o'clock, except for Why Not. Why Not gets a little boring after a while. I haven't been in Why Not for years. I'm hearing it's getting a little crazy. All right, so that's deworming and soil-transmitted helminths, which are no fun unless you're seeking to lose weight. Sealing surprises in Cebu City. This is the final news article. The owner of a home in the sleepy little barangay of Guadalupe in Cebu City was growing concerned over the continued disappearances of his puppies over a period of days. First one disappeared, then another, and as each day passed, another again. Finally, after the 6th puppy's disappearance, the homeowner was driven to investigate and shortly thereafter discovered that a 20-foot-long reticulated python had taken up residence in his ceiling. The local police were summoned, the snake was captured and bagged and transported for some reason to the City Command Control Center. I have no idea what that is. Once fingerprinted and photographed, the snake will then be turned over to the Department of Environmental and Natural Resources. Of the 6 missing puppies, there was no sign, and the 20-foot-long serpent is reportedly not cooperating with authorities. Hearing about this, an inebriated American hanging out in Mango Square was reported to say, Hey, it's Cebu City, party capital of the Philippines. You'll find tubular surprises in the most unlikely of places here. Happened to me just last night, in fact. Hey, it's a true story. I might have embellished it just the slightest bit, but it's true nonetheless. Yeah, 20-foot reticulated. And the thing is a big river that goes through Guadalupe, and that's where they think it came from. But you'd figure, like if it was me, because I like dogs, you'd figure after like the second puppy or the third puppy, you'd be like, this is probably not spontaneous puppy combustion, and maybe I should investigate and find out where these things are going. And finally, the battle against ISIS in Mindanao continues. The United States is still considering assisting with the protracted near civil war there. North Korea is considering ICBM missile tests on the tiny island of Guam. And neo-Nazis in the United States are now being referred to as, disaffected youth. Like I said last week, it's time to get another Pilsen delivery. Again, CBS, did Fazio really pass away 2 weeks ago? No, he didn't. Mr. Fazio, Rabbi Drew Barker, is alive and well, causing all kinds of chaos in Bohol. Don't you worry about it. Davao Yoda says, we place all our vegetables in an ultrasonic cleaner before cooking. I got to check into that. I didn't know that was possible. Did you get that here, this ultrasonic cleaner? I know in Mexico there's actually this substance you can buy in the grocery stores there that you can add to water, and then you're supposed to rinse the vegetables there in it. I forgot what it was called. Julio Rodriguez says, fellow Bostonian, could use the help on some questions offline if possible. You don't know where to send it? If possible, hit me offline and know the ability to send you a message. My email's down in the video description box. Guys, I get a lot of messages. I get a lot of PMs. I get a lot of things coming in. I'm not able to respond to all of them quickly. Sometimes it can take a long time. I try to respond as quickly as possible, but there are times when I get behind, like now. Michael McDaniel says, Ned was walking down Fields Avenue last night around 1:30 a.m. I imagine that's quite the scene. And people were smoking marijuana in full view. With the smell of weed overpowered the area around Kokomo's. No fear of being caught from where I see it. Yeah, I mean, you go down to the mall at Dumaguete at Robinson's, and they're actually selling marijuana pipes down there. I haven't seen it. I know nothing about it here. I'm trying to stay away from anything that can land me in a Philippine jail. But I do know, of course, that it's grown here and that people do smoke it. But it is illegal. You get caught doing it, and you're in trouble. Jason Rodimer says, what type of headset do you have? It's an old Logitech. I'm not sure. It's a Bluetooth thing. I'm not sure. It's okay. The Great Supreme Leader. All hail the Great Supreme Leader. What's up, Ned? Good to see a few of us are still doing live casts. Yeah, I try to do it every week. I try to be consistent. I was worried about the internet today. It's cool being able to interact with people. Timothy White says there is TRICARE available in Dumaguete. Thanks for noting that. I was not aware of that. Do you know where? What hospital? You don't have to say the provider's name, but do you know what hospital that is, Timothy? Because that would be... No, the chemical, it's not, Expat Training says the chemical's called chlorine. It's not chlorine. It's actually something that you rinse the vegetables with and you don't have to rinse it again afterwards. Because I guess the water in Mexico is so bad that you can't even use tap water whatsoever to basically rinse off anything. Joe003 says, my bucket list is to stay out of a Filipino jail. Yeah, I'd highly recommend that. You can see in my videos, I've been to the jail here on a few occasions. And it's basically like a little town, a little village surrounded by a wall. They have everything inside of there. They have hairstylists, they got stores, they got sari stores, they got carinderias in there, it's all kinds of stuff. And there's kids running all over the place because basically visitors can come, anytime during the day. And it's pretty chaotic, it's pretty wild. They actually have a conjugal visit building at the one here, the federal penitentiary here on Negros, which I thought was pretty interesting, although in some places is that stuff. Oh, speaking of smelling, Raymond says I never smelled it on Fields Walking Street either. Yeah, I was doing some video the other night down on the boulevard because I got this new gimbal and I was testing it out, and it was pretty pungent down on the boulevard because you got the basically the sewage, the raw sewage spill going right out under the boulevard, and some nights it's very overpowering. And that night I actually got this on video. There was four female foreigners visiting Dumaguete, I guess, tourists, and they all had handkerchiefs stuffed over their face because the smell was so bad. Raymond says the only drug I take is Imodium. There you go. Prostitution is illegal there. CF says prostitution is illegal there, but not enforced on most islands. Yeah, there's a lot of laws, there's a lot of regulations in place, and not a lot of them are enforced, or they are selectively enforced when you piss off somebody who's very important. That's when it seems to get mostly enforced. There was also an incident over in Bohol, and it was two foreigners that got into a fight, and I guess one got beaten up pretty badly with a wooden club or something, and I think a German guy got arrested, and somebody pressed charges, and you normally don't see that. So, plus you'd think, oh, and I guess he beat him up because he was sleeping, he caught him sleeping or something, or heard he was sleeping with his ex-girlfriend. So getting into fights over a woman, especially when you're pounding somebody in the head with a wooden board, there's a chance you could kill somebody. And again, you don't want to be in the prison, say, a long term. Philly in the Philippines. Ned, do you have any advice to stop the itching of red ant bites? Yeah, don't get bit. No, there's nothing you can do, those little bastards. I've tried everything. I usually, after I get bit, I put on some of that rubbing alcohol. And I Love the 80s Dude asks, Ned, are you going to cash out soon? 1 USD is at 51.4. It's funny that you mentioned that because tomorrow I am actually going to do a major exchange. Actually, this is a live cast. I'm going to exchange like $50 tomorrow. A very small exchange tomorrow because I'm probably going to buy. I'm really thinking about buying this Mavic drone. I've been, seeing the video footage of it, and it really just brings an extra dimension to your vlogging. And there's a lot of things to see here, and I know other guys have drones. Bud Brown's got a drone. I actually got his old practice drone, which is total manual control, and you crash into everything and anything. I'm not very good at drones, but I'm actually thinking about it. So, Raymond says, piss on the ant bites. It works for jellyfish stings, so why not ants? I just watched a horrible movie. It was called The Island. It was based on the book by Peter Benchley. And who's that guy? There's that English actor who's been in, like, Michael Keaton, Michael something, was in it, and it was so bad. And he tried to escape this island that was full of all these really corny-ass pirates by swimming, and he got hit by a Portuguese man-of-war, and he was fighting the Portuguese man-of-war, and it was the worst, like, special effects Portuguese man-of-war ever. You could tell it was just made of rubber. Yeah, these red ants here, they're pretty vicious. Thankfully, I've never seen them inside. I only see them outside. But when you step on them by mistake or you're just walking through some grass where they are, it seems like they all release like a signal or a pheromone, or they scream out attack all at once, because you'll have like 7, 10, 15 of these little bastards biting you at the same time, and it stings. But at least it's not so bad as the ones that can actually kill you. I don't think these are the ones that can actually kill you. Yeah, Kano in the Philippines was he's asking about fingerprinting a snake. Like I said, I kind of embellished on that story. I just found that story amusing, especially the fact, well, not for the puppies, unfortunately, but he waited until the 6th puppy had disappeared before he's like, let me go try to find out why all these puppies are disappearing. Timothy White, you mentioned the trek here in Dumaguete. I haven't seen you respond. If you'd send me a message. Oh, Holy Child. Okay. I'll definitely check that out. Anthony B says, can you buy a 6-foot bong in the Philippines? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. They have all that stuff here. They're making all kinds of things out in those little huts out in the provinces. Guns, bongs, you name it. And a lot of the bongs are actually used for like those Turkish hookah things. There's a restaurant here called Tarbouche, and I regularly see Filipinos sitting around outside Tarbouche smoking a hookah. And I'm not sure if it's actual, I don't think it's actual tobacco, because I don't think they're smokers. So maybe it's some flavored something. Arjuna Nanya, Arjuna Nanya. It's like Nanya business. How is the medical care there? Uh, um, it's complicated. If you get something serious, you can't stay here. If you're out in the provinces and you get into a bad accident, hopefully they can get you to a hospital as quickly as possible. But I mean, let me give you a couple examples. There was Phil Prinz, and you guys might remember Phil Prinz was beaten unconscious outside Zanzibar here in Dumaguete a few years ago. He was a young veteran, United States military veteran, and he was teaching photography here at Foundation University, I believe. He was beaten. And somebody was nice enough to put his unconscious body onto a tricycle, and they brought him to Provincial Hospital. Provincial Hospital didn't know who he was, and they put off treatment on him for a long time before some friends realized somehow that Phil was in the hospital. They went down there, and then they started treating him. Unfortunately, by then, with the brain swelling, it was too late. And I also don't believe they had the proper equipment to deal with a brain swelling like that. And he passed away, I believe, the following day. Hookahs, yeah, hookahs, Raymond. So that's basically it. Thanks for all your questions. Thanks for your comments. I only had to block one dickweed, and that was Emily Cebu. And I know that Emily Cebu is also a big Manila Hobo fan. And Emily said something, and I don't think it's actually a woman, said something somewhat inappropriate, so you're gone, Emily. But next week we'll probably be having a live cast, so just go make up another fake anonymous account and swing on by and do your little trolling. That'll be cool. I look forward to seeing you. All right, again, everybody, thank you for participating. Thanks for everybody. When I talk about supporting the channel, it's not just the financial stuff, because I'm not actually doing this for the money. If I was doing it for the money, I wouldn't have taken down my channel for over 30 days and lost all that AdSense. And just so everybody knows, if you ever do take down your channel and you think your AdSense is going to go right back to where it was when you put it back up, think again. So what I appreciate actually most is just people saying positive things, even if it's criticism. If it's constructive, that's cool. But I really appreciate getting messages from people saying positive things, acknowledging and appreciating and having a little bit of gratitude for all the work and time that I do put into this. And like I said, I'm not expecting much in return. So sincere appreciation and gratitude goes a long way, and it really makes it worth it. All right, everybody, that's it. My glorious 360p live cast is coming to an end. I'll try to do this again next Wednesday. We got 178 people watching. Until then, take care. Amping Ingat.